This is Daniel Yoxheimer, and this is my channel. I just went to go see Supergirl tonight, and it's bombing at the box office. It's doing very poorly. I don't. I mean, uh, it wasn't the worst thing I've ever seen. I mean, it's not. I'm not really going to go into spoilers, but it's just uh, the pacing was a little off. It could have. I think, and most of it takes place in space and on different planets. It doesn't really much take place on Earth at all. And maybe that's what critics didn't like. And people read critics online. That's probably why they didn't go to the theater. There were only three people in the theater other than me tonight, so that should tell you something. But the one thing I did like is they had these clip-on 3D glasses because I have glasses, and I said, "Oh, we got these clip-on ones." So I like that new advent. But yeah, I don't object to Millie Alcott playing Supergirl. She was okay. She used to be on Game of Thrones, House of Dragons, and I think she's a good actress. I think she was just like kind of yeah. You're. I mean, she was already Supergirl in the Superman movie from last year. She appeared at the end. Um, so yeah, I mean, it's not her fault the movie didn't live up to expectations. I don't think it just was a little too. I don't know. There's I think the plot just uh, didn't work. I don't. I mean, that's the best thing I can come up with. I mean, like some of my favorite superhero movies. I mean, you got like The Dark Knight, Watchmen, the first Iron Man movie, and the Avengers movies are really cool. Uh, this movie just wasn't like um, it's it just didn't. I don't know. It didn't have the gravitas of like I think what Supergirl should have. I don't know. Um, I mean, there's certainly a lot of action in it and everything, and she doesn't really have powers in the beginning of the movie. She's away from a yellow sun, so she didn't um, get charged up, because Superman and Supergirl are solar powered by a yellow sun. So everybody who's a comic book nerd knows that. But it wasn't. Yeah, I didn't feel totally disappointed by it, but I didn't. I could kind of tell, it's like this isn't going to take off. Um, it just I could see it had its flaws. The flaws definitely showed. It was hard not to see that, and I just don't think it didn't. It wasn't. I can see why it's not a hit. Um, I They probably will make another one or a sequel. I mean, they didn't make it. They didn't make a sequel to the 19. I think it was 1984. That Supergirl with Helen Slater. I mean, that movie was. I think that was a bomb too. Um, I mean, it was the 80s, so it was a product of its time, and it was a little bit. Of course, it was cheesy. Um, but yeah, this one, it I mean, without going into spoilers, it's it's kind of like watch in the beginning of it, like you're watching it, it kind of doesn't seem to take off too much. I mean, there's action in the beginning of the movie, but it just doesn't um, seem to get into Supergirl's story. And the movie, I will say this much: it's basically kind of Supergirl realizing her purpose and her, I guess, um, her maybe obligation to be a hero because of her powers and not just um, what she was doing in the beginning of the movie, which was you see her like she's kind of drinking and all that stuff, and she can get drunk away from a yellow sun. I mean, normally Kryptonians can't get drunk, but yeah, she was kind of just doing that, and I think that was done for comedic purposes. Um, but I don't know. I mean, yeah, sometimes it's like you really want to have a character, uh, Supergirl. You really want to have her, getting drunk the first part of the movie. I don't know. Maybe it just a lot of people saw that, a lot of critics saw that, and they just like gave it a thumbs down. Um, and some critics had positive reviews, but nothing's going to save this movie. It's I think it had a production budget of 170 million, and it had an $18 million opening weekend, which I can just tell from tonight. There's only three people in the theater, so it really no one was excited about this movie apparently. So yeah, I guess um, that can happen with comic book movies because it's Supergirl. I don't. It's one of those things. I mean, people might be familiar with her who don't read comic books from Supergirl's TV series with Melissa Benoist. I mean, that was on for about 6 years. That did relatively well though, and um, this is a very different Supergirl, and um, I a lot of people didn't thought she was miscast and everything, and so it's just once like one person says there's sort of a ripple effect in our culture, like when it comes to movies, like once like one person, it can be that like because the internet and YouTube or this is the echo chamber, and it's like once there's like one critic, it can just um, that ripple effect, it just spreads everywhere else, and everybody else starts to think the same thing. Well, that thing, that movie must suck, and that's basically, I think, what happened. And yeah, but in summarization, if you want to go see the movie, well, I guess you better go soon because it'll probably leave theaters soon. Um, I'm not saying it's a total waste of money, but I mean, if you're like a Superman fan, Supergirl fan, or whatever, comic book fan, it might be worth your while. But it's probably going to be on HBO Max in 6 months. So, if you have HBO Max, don't waste your money. Um, but anyway, this is Dan Yoxheimer. This is my channel. If you want to subscribe, hit the subscribe button below. Um, I have many past videos from over the years. My show, The Spectre, is from some time ago. I guess I stopped doing that a few years ago, but it's still up on my channel. So feel free to surf through those. Okay. You have a good one, everybody.